of the Beaver Dam Unified School District, not WBEV or Good Karma Brands.
Thank you very much, Wally Lukashinsky, and it is 95.3 WBEV. I am Wade Bates here, back from the morning show, and I always will make time for the esteemed superintendent of the Beaver Dam Unified School District, Mark DiStefano. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well, Wade. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. If you want to watch this thing, you can do that at dailydodge.com or the YouTube page, Daily Dodge TV, and get a look at what you're looking good today. You're at your Beaver Dam. No suit today, but you have the tie on.
Yeah, no. It's a very green day, semi-athletic. We've got stuff going on. You got to stay active. Getting a lot of steps in today, Wade.
That's all right. Again, appreciate you joining us. It's a busy time of the year, both in the classroom and outside when it comes to extracurriculars with athletics and activities. And I guess it's a fun time of year as we are deep. Can we say we're deep into semester 2 now?
Yeah, I think we're well established in the second semester, and this time of year there's a ton of things going on, as you know. Actually something really neat that I got to be a part of yesterday. Our robotics team had the kind of the end of the year showcase, if you will. So consider it like a form of a kind of an end of the season banquet. They did some other celebrations, also promoting robotics. And, if people search around and look, the program that we have in Beaver Dam is really one of a kind for this area. So robotics is just a wonderful opportunity outlet for kids. And that was so neat to see. We actually have 2 robotics teams. But that was awesome, the robotics showcase. So if people in the community hear about our robotics or see anything that we're putting out, take some time to really digest that. I think what was reaffirming for me and just listening to the students, and they did a wonderful job. They did most of the presentation. They all spoke about different things that they do. Not all of them are going into engineering or going to be programming, right? There's so many different facets of robotics. So there's community outreach components, and so we have kids that are part of the robotics teams that literally focus on community outreach and kind of spreading the good news. Helping facilitate learning experiences and understandings about robotics, or about how robotics impacts the world, engineering, and kind of being in this manufacturing center of the country in the region that we live in. Robotics plays a big role in a lot of those pieces. So they have so many different facets. Then you've got like the folks that are on the team that aren't necessarily interested in the engineering, but are like expert drivers.
Sure.
Right. And then you've got other people who are experts at literally putting the robots together, repairing the robots. So it's just really neat to see kind of this diverse and eclectic group of skills coming together, and the interests that these students have. So I think sometimes when people think of robotics, they think only of engineered mind students. Certainly there's an opportunity for people to have an appreciation for that, but all sorts of skill sets are valued in the robotics program, and we've got a great one here.
I've never been able to get to an actual event. I was in the building for parent-teacher conferences at some point this year, and I was walking through the hallway and kind of I didn't step on anything.
Yeah.
But no, they were working on their stuff, and it's just amazing some of the things that they come up with, and they engineer their way out and build these things and how they work. I mean, it's something that's kind of really cool.
It is. It's really cool, and what a great extension of learning. And it's another example too of truly a student-led organization. I think those can be the most powerful. Again, you have the adult mentors, but the kids are doing the vast majority of the work. They're doing the advocating, so they're learning all those other skills to help kind of coordinate and run a program. So a lot of opportunity. Again, it's a one-of-a-kind thing that we have in this region, that we have through Beaver Dam and through our community here. So if people are interested, that's just one more thing that I think makes Beaver Dam so special and so great for kids.
Okay.
But robotics too reminds me a little bit of FFA in a way, because we talked about student-led, and when you think about student-led organizations, really powerful impact connections in the community. So with robotics, you can think right now, like loosely, think of John Deere, you can think of Generac, and those are key sponsors or people that contribute and help out with the robotics program. FFA, it's FFA week this week. So nationally celebrating our FFA program, and that's a wonderful student-led program. And I know there's a lot of people listening that probably realize that, or maybe have a connection or are familiar with FFA, but the amount of outreach that program does, and the learning and leadership experiences that they have, it's remarkable. And we're fortunate in this area of the state where a lot of our schools have FFA programs, and we couldn't be more proud of ours. And we have two ag teachers and kind of co-advisors for our FFA program now. So we've grown in our ag department, and we've grown in our FFA impacts. We've got Jonathan Gansky and Mackenzie Chitko, and they're wonderful, great, hardworking, very dedicated people, and we're just very excited for the direction that this is going.
Yeah, and one of the things too, when people think of FFA, they think they're farm kids. That's not the case. It's a lot of kids that are involved in rural, farm life, things like that. But it's also kids that are living on Center Street. Kids that are involved. It's just a great organization that teaches leadership and learning, and there are kids involved from all aspects of the FFA. And again, the leadership that you have from the students and the adult side of it. Mr. Gansky and Ms. Chidko do a great job in what they do, and just kind of promoting that program and building it to take it to the next level.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Rather than what I tell people is rather than think of farming necessarily, although there's obviously core components, roots, always a connection back to producing food so we can live. I mean, that's kind of an important piece, right? But think of agribusiness, right? And think about all the different facets of agribusiness. And what's really cool is if you think about so much of the technology that we use to make our lives better nowadays, if you feather back in time and look at where that technology came from, a lot of times it's either coming from agriculture or the military. So agriculture is a key cog in our world and how things come to be. And we're really excited to have the participation that we have.
Mr. Gansky's pulled me over in a store in town. We have the FFA Student of the Week this week across the region that we have all year long. That was from Mr. Gansky. That was his incarnation. Pulled me over. He was checking out. I was checking out. Hey, can we do something like this? I'm like, I'd love to, And he kind of helped me spearhead with the other schools across the region to kind of get involved with that, and I'd like to highlight these kids that are in the FFA.
Yeah, and we've heard a lot of positive feedback, so really appreciate that partnership and recognizing kids from all over the county and region for what they're doing, and it's a great program, and we're very proud of it. And again, this week is a call-out week to celebrate them, but I want to thank them for what they do in our community. Another thing that they do that I don't think people always realize is, they think of big things. They think about the fair, and maybe showing animals or putting things on display. They think of maybe some speaking engagements. They think of leadership. They think of the plant sale that we have, right? The other thing that they do is they get out and they actually provide lessons and meet with younger students and help them grow in their understanding of where food comes and how kind of the world of agriculture and those things work. So really, really neat to have them go out and advocate and connect with younger students. So again, it's FFA week, and love to celebrate people and celebrate those programs.
Beaver Dam Unified School District Superintendent Mark DiStefano with us here on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV here on Daily Dodge TV on YouTube. Get subscribed, and then whenever we're on the air, any sports we have on the air or any other programs, people get a notification on their phone.
Sports, yeah. We've had a lot of success.
It has been a fun winter sports season.
You guys have covered a ton. 2 conference championship teams this season. So anytime you can have two teams in one season, and especially if you think about the conferences we compete in, I mean, these are very, very competitive conference. So our wrestling team won the conference championship, dual championship, which is huge. Again, if you think about the teams that we compete with in our conference, so that's a very, very big win. And then girls hockey has been fun to watch. 99% of the time, the hot chocolate's been amazing.
And 99% of the time,
yeah,
watery every now and then.
I had one experience, yeah. And they offered to remake it, but I'm like, no. The next person gets the best cup. So
put some extra marshmallows in. No, but it's been great. Like you said, you mentioned the wrestling team. Coach Winker, since he's taken over, they've just kind of every year you've seen a little bit better improvement. The youth program there has done a nice job, and for them to come away needing to, they picked up the victory. And when I talk about total team efforts at the section or the conference championship a couple weeks back, it came down to it was like a half a point they won the conference title by. So that means even the young man wrestling for 7th place, by him getting a victory, even though you may think, oh, he's not, that was the difference between raising, the championship trophy and, sitting with a runner-up plaque.
Yeah. It's really been awesome and a gritty season for them on many fronts. So they've overcome some adversity and really happy for them and the program. And what's also really exciting is, this is a second season in a row. We've had the opportunity to host large-scale WIA tournaments. Hundreds of kids, thousands of fans in Beaver Dam, and we were able to do that again last weekend. Great job, and the Grunwald family really helps out with that. So, tip of the hat to them. They help run basically the bracketing and manage the meet, so the coaches can coach. That's always a great deal. We actually hosted the girls regional as well as the boys regional. Championships we're putting in. I know Gerber's working hard. Next year they're going to likely maybe do some format changing, which could even bring a larger event to us if we get it. But it was just masterful. And the youth parents are key too in helping with that event and helping manage the different mats and different activities and concessions. So really a shared lift and a wonderful, wonderful event.
And you mentioned girls hockey besides the hot chocolate. I mean, there's been a lot of great performances there today. And talk about rising a program from the ashes. They left the co-op. Before you came in, I was listening to the Wisconsin Prep Hockey, which is kind of the premier, hockey kind of news place in the state, and they were previewing the Section 4. And they've talked about it a little bit, how Beaver Dam lost 70 games in a row after they left the Warbird Co-op. And then a lot of hard work from parents in the youth program. Coach Pogorelic, Coach McLaughlin, Coach Baines, Coach Rhodes, and the players obviously have really put a lot of time in that people haven't seen over the last 5-6 years to kind of get this thing going. And it's hard to run the table in any conference, isn't it? And and they were at 12-0 in the Badger. They've only lost 2 games this year since early December, and that's was the number 1 and number 2 ranked teams in the state.
Yeah, I mean it's been phenomenal to watch. Really proud of the kids and really pleased, obviously, of the coaches and the parents. I think what was really neat about this season with those kids is just the lesson in overcoming some early adversity. Early on, they fell to a couple of teams that very good teams, but they fell early, and they were on a mission, and I think they knew the potential that they had. So to be able to navigate through that early piece and then really hit the stride, grit through things, and be as successful as they've been is really a testament to their mindset, I think, as a team.
Yep.
And they're young.
Yep, very young.
They're very
Just
young.
3 seniors on the squad. So.
Yeah, very young. So that's a great foundation for some additional success. But right now it's, next opportunity they have coming up, hosting a playoff game and focusing on that and taking it one game at a time. But it's been really great. The Wildfire program, the whole youth programs that we have, very, very pleased, and a lot of people dedicating time, giving time to help kids have the best experiences possible. And we see that from PTOs to Wildfire hockey to fun runs. We're very fortunate to have people do the lifting that they do in this community.
And one more thing on hockey, though. You mentioned they will host a sectional. So they're 2 games away from the state tournament. They win 2 games. They'll play on Tuesday. If they win, they'll go to Janesville. But there's no other events going on Tuesday night in the district. The girls will play either against Rock County or the Metro Lynx Tuesday at 7:30. So you need to fill the family center. You need to get a student section there.
Are you suggesting we pack the house?
You need to pack the house. You need to. If you've
Did
never
you just give me an order?
Oh yeah, can you
a little bit?
Can you make sure? Can you walk into every classroom in the district and tell every child that they must attend this game on Tuesday nights?
I won't do that.
Okay.
I won't do that. But I can help spread the word. Spread the word. So I want to make sure everybody's taking care of their reading and math. But it would be good.
It's tonight. It's 7:30. They give you an extra half hour to get your homework done.
No, it's great. I think our kids are going to show out for that game. I think it'll be very, very well attended. So they better have extra hot chocolate on hand.
Okay, we'll make sure. Mark DiStefano needs his own
a
thermos of hot chocolate.
Own anything. Something else next week too. The middle school play is going on next week. So I think the first official performance will be not this coming Friday, next Friday, Friday, Saturday, and then matinee on Sunday, and that's called Bedtime Stories. As told by your dad. Yeah, so we have almost 40 kiddos participating in that. So that's really, really awesome, which kind of ties into, this time of year, we, with our Unifier, which is our monthly newsletter, if you haven't seen it, hop on the website. You can pick up hard copies at the Watermark, or I believe we also have them at Lupita's. But in the Unifier this time of year, our upcoming edition will celebrate the music and the arts, and that's, again, a foundational piece and fabric of what Beaver Dam is and what Beaver Dam's about. So really excited and pleased with all the talent that our students and staff share with our community.
So it's going to be, again, great. If you check the calendar on the websites, there's always stuff going on that's open to the public, whether it's in the PAC, it's either at the middle school PAC and the high school PAC or in the gym or something. There's always something going on.
Winter walking Wednesday nights, there were, 30, we're averaging between 30 and 40 people at that. So especially in the last couple weeks, been a little chilly. A lot of stuff going on, and some stuff going on at Jefferson Elementary.
Yes, the school of the month.
Our school of the month, Jefferson Elementary, the Jaguar. So my favorite thing about Jefferson Elementary is they're green and gold.
Okay,
no, I'm just
which
kidding.
is good.
I have a lot. Other
Thanks for
things
not saying Jaguars like some people say. They're Jaguars, right?
No, don't you think everybody should be green and gold?
Yeah. Can't you make that mandate?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. It would, people just get upset about different things. They'll post it to social media and then I'll get canceled. So no, but I do love the green and gold.
The green and gold for the Jefferson Jaguars.
No, so it's our school of the month, and just to reground folks. It's 3-section elementary school, so we've got traditional K-5 offerings, kindergarten through 5th grade, 3 sections at each level. Then we also have a full-day 4K at Jefferson Elementary, so about 340 students. It's a great campus, wonderful space. Really, really pleased. Their staff is doing an excellent job honing in on some focus, particularly in the area of reading and language arts, and we've seen some nice improvement. We're always measuring. We monitor throughout the year, and when we look at where we're at Jefferson Elementary this year in the area of reading as compared to last year, we're seeing some really nice growth, and that's a testament to the staff and the focus as well as the parents, because it takes having that supportive network and that supportive emphasis on how important academics is in the home to help make sure that those lifts are successful that our staff is doing. So really, really happy about where that's trending at Jefferson. Also really pleased, and we see this at a lot of our elementaries, but Jefferson is really big as a school in outreach. So they do a lot of give back and appreciation efforts as a student body, and the teachers do a phenomenal job in coordinating that and making sure that as students they're learning how important it is to serve and recognize those that serve the community. And really, really pleased and impressed with the focus and how they've woven that in thematically to kind of how they do business, because we think that adds value to making sure we've got really positive and productive citizens down the line. And certainly our PTO contributes and helps out with that. They've got a great PTO at Jefferson. So a lot of great things going on there. And I want to celebrate them as our school of the month. Also, just a kind of a note, and I'll talk about this a little bit more, but Jefferson is going to be one of our elementary schools that's going to get a wonderful new accessible playground this summer, and we're going to be doing some additional campus safety work. So all the elementaries are getting new playgrounds as part of the generous contribution our community decided to make for our students and for the future of our community. So we'll do 2 elementary schools this summer, 2 next summer. So this summer it's Jefferson and Prairie View, and part of the reason people say, well, why'd you pick those to do first? It has to do with the complication of planning. So Jefferson and Prairie View are a little bit more straightforward with putting in those new accessible playgrounds and doing some of that other work. So those playgrounds will land this summer at both of those sites, and those are going to be awesome. And then Lincoln and Washington take a little bit more planning, and Washington's undergoing some other things, which we'll talk about, so it fits in better with the following summer.
When you say accessible playground, can you define what some of you may not know what that means?
Yeah, so when we think about accessibility in 2 different ways. I like to think about accessibility for students to be able to use the equipment regardless of their ability level or disability, if they have one. So you're talking about equipment that they can navigate even if they have some type of physical limitation or otherwise, right? With their peers, they can participate. So we've got a wonderful example of a community playground that's fully accessible at Waterworks Park. And that's obviously a larger scale community piece. But if people are familiar with that, they know that there's equipment there that makes that playground accessible, the actual equipment. But then we're also talking about the accessibility to get to that. And we're talking about accessibility for not just students, but also adults. We're talking about ADA accessibility, and we're talking about accessibility for senior citizens. So actually having like a pathway that's paved that takes you to the playground, so that you can, if you have a walker, a cane, wheelchair, you're not walking across uneven ground, those types of things to get to that amenity. Because our playgrounds aren't just used by our kids during the school day. All of our playgrounds are used all summer long, and are used after school hours by members of the community. And we want to make sure that essentially every community in Beaver Dam essentially has an accessible playground for them to be able to use, because we think it's important that our taxpayers are able to access those types of resources.
We are talking with Beaver Dam Unified School District Superintendent Mark DiStefano. Let's talk on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. Now, lots going on in the classroom as well, and a lot to celebrate, isn't there?
Yeah, there. I mean, that's why we're here,
yes.
right? So I think we get to talk and celebrate about the things outside of the classroom, because that's when our kids get to kind of showcase different talents or extensions. But the work that's happening, first shift every day in the schools is really the grounding foundation behind everything we're doing. And we've got a lot of academic successes that we can celebrate. I think one of the things just to call out is our elementary schools have and continue to perform at a very, very high level. I mean, we have elementary schools that are top performing in the state. We have one that's literally among the top, and we're talking like top 2 or 3% in the state in our district. But what's really impressive is they're all doing a very nice job from a mathematics, reading, language arts standpoint. They keep raising the bar. So as a district, we set metrics and targets around levels of proficiency, et cetera. And most of those schools have hit those targets a year or more ahead of time. And rather than just kind of settle with that and say, hey, we want to sustain that, they move the bar up even more. So really, really proud and pleased with that work. We've seen some exceptional growth across all grade levels from winter to winter when we compare last year to this year. So we already seen growth where kids are for example, in reading grades 3, 4, and 5, where kids are already well over 100% of their expected growth. So they've already learned more than a year's worth of expected material in the area of reading by mid-January, end of January. So that's outstanding. And the bar stays, or we move it even higher. So just because they got to that point now, we continue to move that to stretch them. So they have stretch growth goals as well. But grades 3, 4, and 5, the growth has been absolutely exceptional. And then K1, 2, 3, our percent of students, so kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and third grade, our percentage of students that are on grade level is really well above that halfway target. In some cases, 75% or better to the end of year target already. And again, another testament to our teachers, the great job that they're doing. So really want to celebrate that. And just when we're talking about literacy, when we're talking about reading, just reminding folks in our community how important our parents, our families, our grandparents, community members are in helping cultivate and make sure that they help prioritize the value of that. And just spending 15 to 20 minutes every day with your child, either talking with them about their school day, or with our younger students, reading to them or having them read to you, can mean the world of difference and their ability to grow and achieve to their potential. So we've got some other outreach things that we're doing to help cultivate that success. But again, that academic success, our teachers, you bet, absolutely tip of the hat to them, our kids and the talent that they bring to the table. But we can't forget how important our parents, our families, grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody is part of that lift. And when they're helping, everybody's doing better.
They still have the pizza for reading logs in elementary school.
They've got
level.
all sorts of cool
I just remember that as a
incentives
kid growing up, you'd get the reading logs, and you read so many books, you get a free you get a free personal pizza from somewhere.
We definitely like to highlight and celebrate different achievements. I don't know if it's pizza right now, but there's a pizza place in town that helps promote a lot of things. So yeah, there's a lot of great things going on. Really proud of the work that we're doing, and got to bring it home this year. And we've got a few months to go, but things are going well.
You've been able to. I know I do a segment every Wednesday called "Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?" I failed last week, and the rule is that if I fail 2 weeks in a row, I got to sit in a 5th grade classroom for for like a day or at least a time period to get my education level back up. You have somebody, Mrs. Franke, is worried about her test scores if I would sit in the
sure.
thing. So we have to figure out where I'm going to go. And do you think you'd have a teacher that would take me in, somebody with a remedial level of education?
I do. I think there's some people that
All
are
right, so
willing to have you.
I don't want to bring the district's numbers down though by having to take one of the.
Well, we're not going to
tests.
let you take a test.
Oh, can't
but
I?
We'll let you sit in.
Could you put it in though to see just to fire it in? And this is a 50-year-old man that just.
Yeah, no, not that. We'd probably get in trouble, but we could put together a true mock assessment,
like a Billy Madison or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Billy Madison. I believe on at least one occasion, maybe more than one, that the answers weren't accurate though.
Okay.
I recall because you guys actually called it out. That was a little while ago, but sometimes they don't have the best answer either.
We have a
whatever website
crack
you're
research
using.
team that does that for us. Mark DiStefano, superintendent of the Beaver Dam Unified School District here. Again, lots of academic success. People have to be proud of the effort that everybody from teachers to support staff to everybody, administration working on keeping the bar raising here in the district.
It's a shared lift, and we have a ways to go. And we're going to continue to move that target. And we know that there's areas where we need to close the gaps and do a better job. And we're going to keep doing that. We've got great plans in place. Our board's very invested in that. We're very transparent. We have an upcoming teaching and learning committee meeting where we'll be talking about data at each school and how we're trending with our school success plans. So that information's always available, and certainly encourage people to call, ask questions, or visit us and check things out themselves. But that is the core foundation and heartbeat of why we do what we do, trying to help students grow and achieve to their fullest potential. But it's a shared lift. It really is. So just regrounding us as a community and realizing that we are all part of the equation, and we have a lot of opportunity to influence and control outcomes for our kids as parents and as members of the community. So
a lot of talk, obviously, in the community as well. Got a lot of upcoming projects going on. Mark, you want to give an update? Where do you want to start with that?
Yeah, well, so there's a lot, and we could probably do a whole show on that. But I want to start with saying that we've done a really good job of putting together a website and a monthly update that we're making available to everybody. So I would encourage people to become familiar with that. We'll maybe try some additional ways to push that out so people know where to get it. But if they just go to our website and click on the referendum projects page, there's a whole page that has a variety of information. But on the right side, when they're on that page, there's a breakdown of basically what's going on month by month. So the January update, for example, is on there right now. The February update will be published there probably in the next week. And that's literally like what happened in January, right? Or in February is going to be what happened in February. And what's really nice about that update is we break it down in a few different ways. It's a simple one-sheet document. At the top of it, there is basically a couple of statements, a couple of sentences that kind of give you a summary overview of where things are at. And then we break it down into a couple different categories. So if folks remember the referendum question, there were essentially like three key components to that. So we have, yes, a new middle school that's going to be built. We had the Washington renovation, and then we had district-wide improvements. So we provide a bulleted update on each one of those three facets of the commitment that our community's made in that investment, and we provide them with a monthly update on what's happening there. On those three fronts. And again, there's just a few highlight bullets, things that we think that are really important to take away or know that's happening. And then we have a separate section that's basically on the finances and budget. That's on the bottom left of that one-sheeter. And then on the bottom right are key dates and milestones. So you can get the most updated monthly update on, where's the project at? What are they doing relative to those three areas of investment that we've made as a community? What's the status on finances and budget? What are some key updates there? And then key dates and milestones. So every month, one of those will be published. And how that works is, just so people understand, so there are different teams that are working on the projects. Okay. But at the foundation of that, we essentially have what we kind of dub a core decision team. And as part of that core decision team, we've also invited a couple of board members to participate on that team. If all of our board members are very busy people, they do a lot in the community, et cetera. But they come and they sit on that team as well. So we've got that team that meets on a regular basis, And then at operations, our operations committee of the board, and that's represented by 4 school board members and the board president, we report out as well on where the project's at, kind of provide a status update. They give essentially kind of we'll call it a blessing on the publication of that monthly update. Then the monthly update goes public and is put onto the website. And then at each board business meeting coming out of operations is also an update. So there's a lot of opportunities to stay tuned in. But the quickest, simplest, easiest thing to have something tangible in your hand to reference is click twice, find yourself on that monthly update, and take a look at it. It's a one-sheeter, literally take you 3 minutes to run through it. So
it answers a lot of questions,
it really does. It really does, and we hope that people take the time to take a peek at it. But the February one, again, January's is up there. The February one will be coming out in about a week and a half. And just to remind people, this summer is kind of a heavy, we'll say heavy Washington elementary summer. So we're going to get those kindergarten classroom edition and some of the associated renovations and updates immediately adjacent to where that kindergarten edition is going to take place. We're going to do some of the community recreation space enhancements by the high school. We're doing 2 playgrounds this summer, as well as some other ADA accessibility and site safety pieces. So it's going to be a really great summer. We should have all of our plans finalized, polished out, and approved by the appropriate agencies for the new middle school site and be able to start moving dirt.
People always want to see machinery out there.
Let's move dirt. Get some big machines. Burn some diesel. So we will. Our target, though, just so folks know too, our target is to have that middle school campus, that site, until the point we move dirt, is to keep it actually in production. So we're working with we're working with some partners and might do a planting there like oats, something that's more of an early harvest. That way we've got roots in the ground. It minimizes soil runoff. It creates a better base for us to work with even when we get into that dirt moving piece. So, but again, they're gonna start to see stuff move there late summer, early fall. And then we just get after it, and it's going to be awesome.
You know, we just say too, if somebody's looking at the one sheet that I'm looking at right now, there's a lot of great information. But there's a question that you might have, you can always email or contact your office, and you guys will get back to them. And again, if you read it online, it doesn't always mean it's 100% accurate. So if you have a question about something,
well, if you read that,
this
online,
one
that's 100%.
This one is 100%.
You're
accurate.
saying if you read something that somebody posts,
on like a Facebook machine or something. Yeah, if it's on the district, it's right. It should be correct. Right?
Yeah,
it is correct.
Fun,
but you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you hear things, or you hear things, you're sitting there drinking coffee or sitting at a bar somewhere.
Yep.
And somebody's like, "How'd you hear this?" And it's like, "Well, let's call DiStefano."
Check it out. Yeah, my number's on there. Also, too, our director of business services, Ryan Cashman. Sometimes with the financial piece, we tried to break that down as simply as possible. But if people have other questions, they're always welcome to reach out. We love to have people, love to help people have the most accurate information. One other thing, real quick I don't know how we're doing on time.
We got like 8-9 minutes.
Oh my goodness! So one other thing on this before we dive into legislation is safety.
So
I want to talk about safety a little bit more on the upcoming projects, because that's a big part. That's part of the elements and part of the language that was represented essentially in each of those, even those 3 core facets, right? We want to design and build to have the safest possible campuses, experiences, etc. So there's a lot of things that we're doing with that, and one of the things that we do is we talk about things as a district with our district safety team, which meets on a regular basis, and that's comprised of representatives from the school and representatives from our emergency responder partners in the area, etc. But we are also being very deliberate on the outreach with safety experts when it comes to schools in our local community, as well as the state and nationally, when it comes to the design of something new, right? Because this is our opportunity. There's a good chance that this building serves our community that we're going to build for 100 years, right? So if the more we can put into the thought process of the layout and the design of that, the better we're setting future generations up. So We've already brought in and started the partnership with the Department of Homeland Security has a specific focus or lens that works on school safety. So we've already had a representative from their team that actually focuses on the school elements come in and actually he's here again today doing some visits with our current schools to offer some more context, but providing context into the actual design of the building and facility. In addition to that, next Wednesday, as a project update, next Wednesday we've got community sessions. We're looking for some feedback on some things. People have an opportunity for people to talk directly with the architects. So next Wednesday we'll be at the Watermark midday, right around or just before the lunch hour. We'll be pushing that out again on social media, and then again in the evening at the ESC. And people are welcome to come to that, share ideas, talk with the architects. This isn't a time to complain about if they didn't agree with the referendum. I mean, that ship has sailed a little bit. Obviously, this is a time to provide some context or feedback for the architects as they go through the design process. But in between those meetings, we have a separate meeting where we're meeting with the architects are meeting with representatives from the sheriff's office, the police department, fire department, to get their feedback and recommendations on design elements, everything from the campus, the layout, traffic flow, to security, flow, building, etc. So we are all in on getting that feedback. We want this to be a phenomenal learning experience, an opportunity for kids when they walk into that building and feel great, but we also want it to be safe, and we want everybody to feel like they had an opportunity to add value to that development and enhancement. So really, really excited about that part of the process.
Awesome stuff. Again, I can't wait to start seeing, dirt being moved and just, even some behind the scenes stuff happening with the referendum. Now, legislation-wise, Mark, we're talking Mark DiStefano here. Another 6 minutes or so here on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. Talk about some legislation that's going to impact the district.
Yeah, so there's some legislation out there about schools, and I just want to make sure people know that it's out there, and then kind of let them know where I'll say we stand on it. So there's different assembly bills that are out there, and some of those bills are in probably different parts of their process. But a couple of them that might hear about, one you guys actually covered today, which is Assembly Bill 1. Believe it or not, Assembly Bill 1 has to do with education, so you know where people's priorities are, which I think they should always be on education. But has to do with essentially stabilizing the cut scores that are used to measure performance for schools and school districts, and making sure that there aren't decisions being made that somehow move that target. And I think we could talk 6 minutes about the backstory, but essentially there were some changes that schools and districts didn't make, but that the DPI had made some adjustments to some things kind of post-COVID and moved the target a little bit in some areas, and the legislators aren't supportive of that. Like, let's keep the target where the target is so everybody knows where they stand. I would say, generally speaking, school leaders, generally speaking, I can't speak for all of them, want a target that stays to, right? We don't want to move the target. So when they hear that, I'm sure there'll be other conversations as it works its way through. But at the end of the day, we want stability. So if there are certain targets and metrics we're supposed to hit, and this bill basically assures that they can't be moved or adjusted, and kind of solidifies that process. So that's one of the bills that's out there. Again, you guys covered it. I think you did a good job, but that's something that it just makes sense, right? It just makes sense. So you're going to set a target, keep it, and you can't change it year to year. Or those benchmarks and those cut scores that we use for measuring accountability for schools and districts, you got to keep it. Otherwise, we're not comparing to the same fruit. We go from apples to apples and bananas, and that becomes confusing for everybody, including the educators. The other one that's out there too, and there's actually 6, I think. I think the first 6 assembly bills have something to do with education. But Assembly Bill 2 has to do with cell phone prohibition. And, many districts like ourselves already probably have some kind of policy or procedures that mitigates or eliminates the use of cell phones during instructional time. And absolutely, philosophically, we 100% support that. But what this bill would do is essentially make sure that every district across the state of Wisconsin is making sure that during instructional time, students are not using cell phones, unless there could be exceptions. We might have students that have from a medical need, maybe monitoring blood sugar, et cetera, where they might need to reference personal communication device to just make sure that they're healthy and safe that way. But those are things that we don't object to. Those are, I think those are really potentially great bills. And I will say that, as a district, we've firmed those pieces up already. And we're probably going to take even more steps to help do that, because they're distractions and it's not good for students' mental well-being. And the more we can help them eliminate those distractions. So what I would say, though, and I think our parents have been amazing with this, generally speaking, as we look for ways to help our students be more grounded and focused, and we take steps that might impact what they would dub as their freedom or lifeline, with cell phones in or around schools or during the day, we're doing that for their long-term mental health. And we would appreciate their continued support as we take those steps as a district to further enhance that, and really protect them from those distractions in themselves. Because we know the long-term implications of some of those things. I think our parents do too. But we also know that our kids really love their phones, as a lot of us really love our phones. But there's a time and a place, and during school is not that time, and it is not that place.
All right. So update on that now.
So are you mad about that? Are
No,
you are you
I'm
going to
okay.
call and complain?
No, I'm good with that. I mean, it's like you got to learn. You got to learn. I'm a fan of. I would run short on time. Like I said, I'm a fan of having access in some capacity during the school day. Cause
Sure.
You never know. But classroom time, you're right.
Yeah.
Should be there to be. You're there to be learning, not
Maybe
to be
checking in at lunch if you're a senior. I probably don't have a problem with that.
not to be
but-
scrolling TikTok.
Yeah, don't need to be scrolling TikTok or working in your earbuds or whatever else. But our kids have done a great job in our schools, generally speaking. We've taken those steps, but I think we can probably do more just to help kids be able to focus.
All right. Heading down the home stretch here, Mark. I know we got. I guess I'll give you the final thoughts here today.
Yeah,
This is the old Jerry Springer show.
I've got a couple. So really proud. Obviously, our district, and this is Let's Talk Beaver Dam, but really proud of our districts in our county. I know. I was listening to Rich, and Rich is this is Rich's last year at Horicon, so I wanted to commend him for the work that he's done and celebrate all the school districts in Dodge County. Dodge County is a great place to live. Certainly, I think Beaver Dam and the Beaver Dam schools is probably the best place to land specifically. You've got multiple top-performing elementary schools. People know about our advanced and collegiate course offerings are second to none. I mean, kids can take so many different experiences at our high school and earn college credit, save dollars in tuition, or get right into youth apprenticeships and have those experiences in the field. So we've got university level classes, technical college classes, and more offerings than anybody in the region. And I know we've put out some posts and celebrated some things on this, but one of the things that also makes Beaver Dam so special is the amount of scholarship opportunities we have locally. It is literally unmatched. If you come to Beaver Dam and you're a student in Beaver Dam and you work hard and set yourself up for success, our community in many different areas has set up so many different pathways for you to access scholarship dollars. It's unbelievable. So between the college courses, between the scholarship dollars available, I can't think of a better experience. It's why two of my children have graduated from here and would not have wanted to go anywhere else. I would encourage anybody who's considering to consider Beaver Dam. It's a great place.
All right, Mark DiStefano, Superintendent of the Beaver Dam Unified School District. Appreciate the time, and I guess we'll see you at the rink on Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, we'll see you.
All right,
Go
this
Beavers.
has been Let's Talk on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.